So hello, my name is Tim Lenahan, and I'm a strategist at Sapiens Decision. We're going to take you through about a 15-minute session today, introduce you to the concept decision modeling and the tool, and give you a little bit of a demo. So without further ado, let's jump in. When we ever talk about a decision, this slide's really summing up. A decision is data coming in. There are rules to make the decision, and it has a conclusion coming back. The rest of the slide is really dedicated to saying a decision could be something really little, or it could be something really, really big. But to us, they're all decisions. They all are the same thing. Data coming in, rules, and then a conclusion coming back. For virtually all of software ever written, it's been fundamentally the same thing, that you've got workflow that is surrounding actions. And one of the primary actions in software has been decisions. So what we're doing is we're pulling the workflow and the decisions away, and we're going to treat the decisions as individual assets. And this is nothing more than a little bit of an IT version of that, saying that when I pull the decisions away from the workflow, inside the workflow, it's in the essence making a call to that decision asset. Introducing you to the decision model, it's been around for quite a number of years. It really is a methodology, not a tool. Now, it happens to be that Sapiens has got an awesome tool to support the methodology, but the methodology is really doing what Cod and Date did for data normalization is doing to business rules. And the tool brings a lot of rigor, brings a lot of rules, brings a lot of things to make sure that what you're building is good, solid business decisions. So very brief introduction to the concept of the decision model as a methodology. In the tool then, so the Sapiens Decision tool that supports the methodology, there are three basic constructs. The first construct is a flow to where you're using, in the essence, the ability to manage workflow around decisions. It is not a complete BPMN. It is really just gateways around decisions. So in this case, you'll see I run a decision, I have a gateway, and depending on what the conclusion came back, I will run a series of other decisions. So that's a flow. Inside of that, you'll see we've taken the blue decision and blown it out, and a blue decision has the tree. It's got the data coming in, it's got the tree, and it's got a conclusion. Each box in that decision is a sub-decision, and that you'll see is the green box down below. So just three constructs that you'll see when Justin gets in the demo: flows, referencing decisions, and decisions are made up of sub-decisions or rule families. This is just to break out a little bit more detail that decision, again, just like a flow is data coming in and draws a conclusion, each individual decision has data coming in. You'll see that brown arrow is going into each and every sub-decision. So the data coming in is available to each sub-decision. Each sub-decision has its own factors, or business rules, if you may, that pass up to decision. The decision is defined top down. What's my business rule that I'm trying to decide? And then when you execute, you can execute bottom up. Again, data coming in, I have my rules, and I draw a conclusion. So we talked about the sub-decisions, and this picture is depicting just that. In the tree on the left, you'll see driver's age, bottom left, was calculated by business rules that said, what's my effective date of the policy? What's the driver's birth date? And I calculated driver's age, and that's passed up to the sub-decision. So you'll see the sub-decision of driver age is greater than or equal to 16, and the driver's license validity, it's a valid driver's license, and the vision's acceptable. It happens to be acceptable. So they're always ANDed together, and that draws a conclusion. In this case, it's acceptable. And so you'll always read these horizontally as ands to the conclusion. They are vertically ors as we execute all rules in the sub-decision. This is just a simple use of reuse that's showing major violations as something that was needed and usable in underwriting, a claims and a discount eligibility. And that's one of the advantages of within decision modeling and within our tool is the great ways that you can reuse these sub-decisions and decisions themselves both into other decisions that have to be made from a business perspective. From a tool perspective, we're doing three basic things. You're seeing that we've got the normalization of the business rules that normally is done by a business person. Step two, and Justin will spend a bunch of time in this in the demo, showing you how you can test and validate the business rules that you're putting in. And then step three is we're generating code. So everything you really see in our tool fundamentally is about normalizing the business rules on the design side, the left side. And then the execution is really just getting that deployed with governance along the entire process. So on this slide here, just showing you and trying to really drive the point home that it's the design time function of the business person building the rules into the tool, and then they generate and code. And this is just one job, is one means that you can deploy. We've got more, just trying to highlight the design time versus runtime execution side. So before Justin jumps in the demo, I just want to re-highlight that he'll talk about flows, which is multiple decisions that are orchestrated on in the flow. individual decisions that have the data coming in conclusion, and then you'll see the decision tree to where there's multiple sub-decisions or rule families. And Justin will be showing you an example of all three of these. So without further ado, Justin.
Thank you, Tim. Share my screen. So, Justin Patterson, and I'm currently the sales engineer with Sapiens Decision. And what I'm sharing is Decision Manager, which is our authoring tool. So the point of Decision Manager is to let decision analysts, business and technical alike, easily manage and test the logic that is composed in the decision models. Here I'm sharing a decision flow, as Tim has described. I'm evaluating 5 different risk factors to ultimately make an underwriting decision. Each of these boxes, these risk factors, are decision models. So let's take a look at one. So if you think of each decision model as answering a business question, this decision model is answering the question, is this policy eligible based on the vehicles and their characteristics? How do I determine if a vehicle is eligible? Well, this shape is telling me that I'm iterating on each vehicle. I'm determining if that vehicle is eligible. I'm putting that answer into a list, and then I'm evaluating the contents of that list. So very simply, if that list contains only eligible vehicles, then this policy is eligible, at least based on the vehicles and their characteristics. And if it's not, I'm going to return a message explaining why it's not. So then how do I determine if vehicles are eligible? Well, I'm evaluating all these different kind of aspects of the vehicle that are organized in what we call supporting rule families. And you'll see that anytime a condition is underlined, it highlights the supporting rule family conclusion from below. It's telling me that is a condition that's derived within the model. Any condition that's not underlined is data being passed in during the call. And if I open up the supporting rule family, it's very similar to the one that Tim shared. In order for a vehicle to be eligible based on its usage, it has to be not for commercial use, not for racing use, and licensed for the road, then it is eligible. So that row is a rule. Put them all together is how we get the concept of a rule family. This is our most common kind of rule family pattern. We call it a row diagonal. We have one row of eligible logic, and then all of the or statements is a diagonal. And again, all the while we're trying to combine messaging with the conclusion to really return the description as far as why we're giving you the answer that we gave you. As one other example for a rule family, slightly different design, but once you've read one rule family, you know how to read them all. In this case, I'm evaluating a vehicle type and the vehicle value amount. Dune buggies and go-karts are limited to $20,000, while everybody else is limited to $200,000. And again, point being, we're trying to return messaging that explains why we're giving you the conclusion. At any time, I can run tests. Here's an example of our inline tester. All of the data that's not underlined is data that's required to be part of the call. And when I pass that data in, I can get my answer of ineligible. Here I can see that I passed in 2 vehicles. One was eligible, one was ineligible. I can trace back why this vehicle was ineligible. It turned out it was based on that because of its usage, which is the rule family we took a look at. And now I can tell that both for racing and road use cause this vehicle to be ineligible. And I can drill all the way down into the messaging, which I can see better at the top of the tree when I look at it from the decision perspective. So, as a recap, Decision is a no-code tool. Again, it's designed to make a visual representation of your business logic that's easily maintained and tested. We offer inline testing as well as some other auto-generated testing or the ability to import. Everything is built from non-technical terms that are part of what we call the business glossary. And ultimately, the model you produce is the code that will be deployed. Everything runs on the cloud and is callable as a web service. And in order to get models approved to be able to be deployed, they have to go through enterprise governance that's completely configurable by your company.
Justin, that was great. It was great to see the demo. We want to thank everybody for listening and watching our session today. Once again, this was a quick high-level introduction, both into the concept of decision modeling and the tool, the Sapiens Decision tool itself. We have a series of additional sessions that dive into a little bit more detail, both in terms of the tool and then use cases from a business perspective. Thank you very much, and you can look forward to the remaining sessions. Take care.